Well, well, well. Ahoy, ahoy. It's been a while since I've actually decided to do one of these, and I want to talk about the cooking class. I really enjoyed myself, I want to mention first of all, because some of what I'm going to say, it isn't negative, but it is maybe critical of some of the things that she claimed. And while I enjoyed the class and I enjoyed the food, I was a bit dismayed by some of the factually inaccurate information that she tried to pass off, and I don't know. I guess I'm just one of those people who feels like if you're going to try and teach people something, you should know what you're teaching. But I digress a little bit. It's not really a big deal. Um, it was interesting to learn about stevia. I hadn't really known about the product before. Um, of course, there is a lot of sort of questionable health concerns in terms of a lot of artificial sweeteners, and so stevia might be new enough as of right now to sort of have the jury still out on that, if you will. So maybe we don't know enough about it to know if there will be negative health effects, but you know, anytime you get a new artificial, shouldn't call it an artificial sweetener, but a new alternative sweetener, an alternative to sugar, you know, there's going to be a bit of time where it becomes exciting, and then there's going to be claims made about it, because an awful lot of the claims made about aspartame, some of them are backed up by evidence, but an awful lot aren't. You know, a bit of oh, what's the term? Urban legends surrounding aspartame, but it has been linked to a couple types of cancers with real scientific evidence. So, um, although it is fair to point out, I believe in now, maybe don't quote my numbers, but it's my understanding that the rats or mice that were involved with the study that is most often cited to say that it may have negative health consequences. They were feeding the, can't remember if it's rats or mice, but they were feeding the rats or mice something on the function of about 1,500% of what a human would, you know, be able to consume, sort of thing. So I mean, you always have to take some of these studies with a grain of salt. Not the results of the papers themselves, because of course the papers will explain the doses, but in terms of what people say. But I'm off topic and I digress. Um, yeah, I mean, the food was great. I liked a lot of her sort of ideas for substitutions for certain things and so on and so forth. The one thing I guess that kind of chapped my ass, if you will, is her constant referring to sprouting seeds as making them more nutritious. It There is some evidence to back up the idea that it makes nutrients more biologically available, but she actually made the claim that there was more nutrients, and of course that's completely ridiculous and impossible unless it's mysteriously beaming nutrients in from another planet or something, because of course if you just put something in water, water has no inherent nutrient value of its own, as I'm sure you know, and therefore everything in that seed, or everything in that jar of sprouts, had to come from the seeds. And so I can buy the more biologically available argument. I can't buy the more nutrient argument. It just doesn't make any logical scientific sense whatsoever. And I hesitate to get stuck on that, but I guess it just comes down to, like I say, I am a scientist and I believe in truth. I care about the truth, I should say. And it's there's a group of people out there who will say, why does it matter if it's true if it makes somebody happy? Well, okay, that might be okay for you, that might be okay for that person. It's not okay for me. I care about the truth. The truth matters to me. On some sort of a deep intellectual level, the truth actually matters to me. I am willing to accept things that are not happy if they're true. I want to know how things actually work. I'm not interested in strange, bizarre interpretations on something just because it makes somebody happy. Well, good for them. Truth matters more. I guess it comes down to something that was said by the author Douglas Adams. He wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and his line was, "Isn't it enough that a garden is beautiful without there having to be fairies at the bottom of it?" And all it really means is, isn't it enough to see the beauty in nature without having to have the supernatural side that so many people seem to like? And the magic nutrients in the sprouts kind of reminded me a bit of that. But I don't want to focus on the negative, because it actually was good. And in fact, there is she does a lot of things that I had already been doing, just sort of inherently because I actually think it tastes better. Things like brown rice instead of white rice. I was already doing that. Well, different kinds of beans and stuff like that. I don't necessarily sprout them, but I do. Because I can't eat tomato, I do. The idea of buying pork and beans, which is almost exclusively in tomato pastes and stuff like that, is no good for me. And so I do prepare my own beans simply because I kind of have to. Because I enjoy beans and they're healthy, of course. There's a lot of proteins in them, and you can cut back on your meat. I'm not a vegetarian, not even close. I actually quite enjoy meat, but it's expensive, and I don't like to buy meat from the grocery store. The meat I get comes directly from our farm. I guess I kind of like to know where it came from. It's a trust thing, I guess, not because the cows were necessarily sick or something like that, but because who knows who is handling that by the time it gets to your plate. And I know that's kind of silly and paranoid in a way, but whatever. At least I understand the cows that we butcher. I know exactly where they've been and how they were handled, and I trust that. And so but I mean, yeah, all in all, I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It was a very sort of fun and kind of abnormal, I guess you could call it a disruption. And it was fun. It was fun to get out of the university, go and sort of do something different. Nothing wrong with even though I don't necessarily agree with everything that she said, there's nothing wrong with learning a few different recipes and a few different ways to prepare food. And isn't it enough that sprouts taste good without there having to be magic nutrients at the bottom of it? And sprouts do taste good, so I'm okay with that. I guess, I can't really think that there's anything more to say in the cooking class other than kind of fun, sort of different, for typical quote-unquote university class. And I enjoyed it.